my scrappy friends. I have a mixed media traveler's notebook spread for you today. This is mostly like an art journal type of traveler's notebook that I am keeping. So I just do a lot of playing around. This one is the mixed media insert from Scrap and Wonders. And I'll make sure I have her link to her Etsy shop. And I really love this insert. I love how thick the paper is, and as you can see, I'm slathering on quite a bit of water, and it just holds up really well to all the water and media. I will say that this spread started to leak on the through where the inseam is. So I will say you do have to be careful with any journal or traveler's notebook insert that you're using as you get through it. And I've done quite a bit of pages, so it just started doing that with this one. And I use a lot of media and water, so I'm thinking that's why. I started off with using some really light the reinkers from Tim Holtz, and I used just a little bit, and then I added a little bit of watercolor that was like a deep purple down at the bottom, and it's really hard to see. And I started this step like that because I didn't want it to have a lot of stuff on it at first, because I really want to build some layers. And I really wanted to start off with like a wash effect, and I'm going to do that pretty similarly with this Dina Wakley acrylic paint, and I'm going to water it down. If I was doing something on a canvas, I would never water this down, just water. But in my traveler's notebook, I'm not so much worried about the properties of the paint. So when you use paint and you're using acrylic paint and you use water, it actually the cells, it's hard to, the molecules in which make paint and to make it stick can be affected when you just use water. So it really breaks it down, and it really can lift up the paint off of your background. I think in an art journal, it probably will be fine. I've not seen too many of my pages, actually, the paint started lifting up, but just know that could be something that happens. I did use gesso on this whole thing at the very beginning, so which makes it a lot easier, so that when I did use a lot of water, it wasn't just going to stick. So now I'm also using, so I use the purple Dina Wakley paint, and I'm also using this turquoise color, and it is a beautiful color. It is gorgeous. I'm using a lot of water, and I'm going to soak up a little bit of the paint that's pooling, because I don't really want the pooling lines. I want maybe just a little bit, but I want it pretty consistent. So I'm going to use my heat gun a little bit, and I'm going to use my brush. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the reinker, and I'm just going to do another layer of that just to give it a little bit more of a green look. So I do have the paper. That paper is just regular paper underneath each of the pages, so I don't get it on the page before, because I do have stuff on the other side. I'm pretty sure that this is the last spread I'm going to get out of this insert, just because I've done a lot of other stuff, and it's really starting to show that I have a lot of stuff. And I bulk up my pages quite a bit, so you'll notice that. So the next process that I'm doing is I'm taking some Shimmer's acrytones, and I really like the acrytones because you can see through the layers. It really makes for making it like art journaling stuff really nice and fun. And so I just added a little bit of that white to the bottom, to the purple, to tone it down just a smidge, and then I'm just playing around. At this point, I actually have no idea what the heck this is. And this is just how I create a lot of times. I just do some stuff. I use some colors that I want to use, and then I just let it become what it is. And so I'm just kind of working on this line, and as I'm going, it looks kind of like mountains, doesn't it? So I'm going to go with this. And yes, this is definitely how I create a lot of the time in my art journals and in even my scrapbooking pages a lot of times. And I think it's really fun to just kind of let the media do what it's doing and then direct the path. I mean, sometimes I have an idea of what I want to do, but so I'm trying to create some shadowing. So I add a little bit more of the acrotones right to that spot that 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 little palette that I was working with that had a little bit of the purple left in it. And I'm trying to create some the lines of like how a mountain is. So when you look at the mountain, you see shadows and you see different types of light lines, and depending on how the lay of the land is, how the rocks are, right? Especially where I live now, the mountains are a lot newer looking than if you're on the East Coast and the Adirondack Mountains and that whole chain. I don't know how it is when you start getting um, down in the Adirondacks when it starts going into the Appalachian Mountains and stuff, but they're a lot older and so they're more rolly. And out in the West, you see these lines. They're so dramatic and they're gorgeous and beautiful. So this kind of stuff definitely impacts how I create now too. You know, these newer things that I'm seeing as an adult as opposed to what I grew up with as a kid. So to help create more of these lines, I'm taking some of this navy acrotones and I'm using my palette knife and I'm laying it really thick with my palette knife and I'm just scraping different sides. So I'm doing it in different angles so that I can create these hard lines. And I mean, obviously this is not precise and it's not true to life. So I don't want to say it's impressionistic, but it's definitely not. I'm not trying to be perfect. Let's put it that way. I don't mind that it doesn't completely look like a mountain, but it has that when you look at it from far away, it does look like a mountain. So just remembering that it doesn't have to be perfect and that a little bit goes a long way. Your eye does a lot more to fill in these details. So when you're working in an art journal, sometimes that is better because you can kind of have more fun with what you're doing. So now I decided that I'm going to do a quote and I'm doing it in copper paint. I will say that I kind of wished that this copper paint wasn't so see-through once I started using the water. I'm using a water brush so that I can get the brush script with a little bit more more fluid. And I really need to get watercolors that are metallics. I think that would probably help a little bit better so that you can't see through it as much. It's not so transparent. But I just write, not all who wander are lost. And then here I'm going to draw a little like a signpost. So I just drew a post and then some different like lines going different directions, and it's supposed to look like it's off in the distance. So it doesn't, like I said, it's not perfect. It's just like, oh, I seen something. And lately I've been kind of interested in like the legend symbols of on a map, like north, for the directions and all that good stuff. So I put up at the top, I put northwest, east, or, put all the directions. And so now I'm going to add just a few more touches to the mountains, because I don't want it just to be mountains. I want there to be a little bit more. And I wanted to add some evergreen trees because why not, right? And so I'm going to use some of this watercolor, and this is Prima. I will say by using the watercolor, it makes the lines harder. So you want to make sure your brush doesn't have a lot of water on it, or it was pooling a little bit, and so I had some problem with some of the trees because they were more blobby than I wanted. I wanted a little bit more of the detail of the evergreen, and that kind of just took playing around and using my napkin to really, like, when I didn't like it, to soak up the water and just kind of let that sit and let it dry, and then go back over with maybe a little bit darker color or a little bit of a lighter color. So I used a variance of different colors. I used some like black colors, some really dark gray, tealy colors, and I added just a little bit of green to the one tree all the way over at the other side that you only see like half of it, and it's a little bit bigger. So yeah, I did add a little bit more black to the legend symbol up at the top, the compassy type of symbol. And like I said, here, see, I'm going back again and just adding a few more details because I just thought I needed a little bit more. And when you're doing these kinds of details, like I said, using a drier brush definitely helps, especially with those watercolor pens, because the water just kind of spurts right out. So if you're not careful, it will easily pool at the end of your brush and you'll get more of a blob of water with the paint in it. Then you will get these nice streak lines. And when you're doing something like a tree from far away, I find that having a little bit of blur with a little bit of the lines in it really help it feel like there's some kind of dimension and you see like a shadow of a tree, like looking off from it in the distance. So here's another thing. I didn't show you the process of me actually doing the stitching because this takes a long time. And I don't do stitching very often because it takes a long time. But I thought that this would be really fun to add some clouds with some stitching. So I took some Chamel clouds from, I think it was from her last Starshine line, maybe? So not her last line, but those transparent clouds are from her last line. And so I'm mixing around. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put things. I kind of wanted to use that plain because I thought it was fun. I don't really like the flag thingy hanging from it, but you know, I'm just gonna work with it. I could have cut it off, but I decided not to. And then I'm trying to figure out how I want to layer it. I added that little sun from crepe paper that was from the poolside collection. It was just sitting in my stickers, and so I'm just layering it on those big clouds. Now, I did not cut these clouds, so yes, they are at the crease, and I will worry about that later. Right now, it's just sitting. I did fold it a little bit, like I closed my book a little bit to kind of get a little bit more of a crease, but like while I took the pictures, I wanted to make sure that I didn't have much of that crease. But so it probably will have that crease a little bit as if I decide to add anything else to my notebook. But I chose to not cut it on purpose because I did all that stitching and I wasn't really wanting to cut through the stitching. I could have cut it before I stitched. That probably would have been the smartest thing to do, right? But did I think about that? No. And I did take a lot of these and put them on pop dots. I didn't share me adding all those. I think I shared a little bit at the very beginning, but I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just add pop dimensional, or I could have used foam too. That would have worked really well too. You would have had the drying time of using the glue on there. So I wanted to add a little bit of washi tape because I have this really fun Recollections tubing, like, you know, the tubes of like 10 washi tape, because of course I need 10, even though I don't use washi tape. But they were such pretty colors, I just couldn't help it, right? And there's that purple one, and it worked perfectly because the colors match so well with this whole spread. So I added it to the side, and then I'm going to add some up to the top too, and I'm just going to build little clusters around there because why not? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. Like, what am I doing? I did add that Dear Lizzie, yeah, the hot air balloon because, oh my gosh, words, why won't they come? Yeah, so I added that hot air balloon because it's just so pretty, and really I'm probably not going to have too many times to use that, though I do have a story about hot air balloons that we used to have some stuff because we had a friend, but that's besides the point, right? That has nothing to do with this. So I thought it was pretty, and I really liked the copper, and that ties into the copper down at the bottom that you can't really see, but that's okay. Because sometimes it's not all about every little thing that you see, like, right out in the front, right? So I'm loving how this is turning out. It's so much fun. So I'm looking right now for some clips. You probably can't completely see because, of course, my head's in the way. in the corner. I'm sorry about that corner, guys. I didn't even notice that the corner was cut off a little, but I don't think it impedes what I'm doing, so I just left it. So I have these little hearts, and they are gold, and I know it's different than the copper, but that's okay. I don't mind mixing copper and gold, and especially in something like this, it's really fun. I don't think anybody's gonna notice. I mean, your eye sees so much more than just like these few little pops of other things. So I added some of those hearts that I had, and I think those are from Citrus Twist because I got some stuff from them a while ago, and it's still sitting on my desk. And I like to do that. I like to look for some of the little pieces that I have right on my desk because sometimes those are the best little pieces to use, right? So I'm thinking about adding some Maggie Holmes hearts from that chipboard sheet. I also know that I want to add some other stuff, but I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to look for some like enamel dots and stuff, some little tiny pieces, because I don't want to add too much more. This is pretty much done. I just want to put some last final touches on this and kind of tie the top and the side together. I seriously love those little clips. I need to do a spread in a media in my art journal with just like those clips or something and like a clothesline or something. Wouldn't that be really fun? So I'm playing around with these Dear Lizzie wooden buttons and stuff. Now I took the foam part off. They are still quite dimensional, but I feel like by taking the foam part off, it really helps and it's not too bad, right? I can deal with that a little bit. If you have a problem with those kinds of things, don't add them. Just find something that is, I'm sure you could find a chipboard with button or something too. But I really liked the pops that they had. And there was a fox, and I thought that was perfect because we're talking about the wild. And I just add some extra enamel dots and stuff, and then that is done. So this is done. Don't forget to go to check out Best Store because she has tons of inserts like this. She has one for mixed media and one for watercolor, so it's perfect for these kinds of fun little art journal-y type things. I love using my traveler's notebook for art journals because it just is a great place to play, and I don't have to worry about messing it up, right? There's no worries because I can just turn the page and do another one and fool around on the other one. It makes it so much fun. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.